Hello, everyone. Who's
Hey, good
I
afternoon,
don't
everyone. Let me quickly take the lead here as a host. I'll go very quickly go off screen as well. So we're in the emergent session, the second emergent session this afternoon, according to the European time zone, but possibly also some people from the US and from Asia are joining as well. We have Aki, Katja, and Roberto joining us this afternoon, and they're going to tell something about painting the brain, right?
That's right.
So what I'll do is I'll just make myself small. If people want to interact, of course, like everyone knows that there's the chat thing that you can use on the site. You can also use the ask a question thing within Crowdcast. I'll keep an eye on the ask a question. I also keep an eye on the chat. But feel free to interact with like audience. Please feel free to interact with the people giving the presentation. Okay. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that great introduction. So this emergent session came out of a discussion Katja and I had only a few days ago, where we were chatting with some people, and while we were chatting, we were also editing some, like, basically drawing on some brains that Katja and Roberto have in this amazing Brainbox app, which they can explain a lot better than I can. But just broadly speaking, the kind of idea here, and whoever's here and whoever's live, like willing to share their camera, just say something, and oh, hi Dory, say something in the chat, and then Robert can invite you on screen, and then we can all just chat. But the idea is basically that we'll just, kind of collaborate on a brain together and hang out. So no, big intellectual contribute. You know what I mean? Like, we're not giving a talk or anything like that. We're just hanging out. It's just really low key hanging out. I don't know. Maybe Roberto and Katja, do you guys want to talk about the thing, and then maybe put a link to what we should be going to or something? Okay.
We are aiming for a kind of metaphysical experience. So we will just, empty our minds and segment that brain.
But I'm very much also up for talking about brain evolution and how awesome that is and how exciting that is. And what's nice about it is, like, we were just hanging out on Gather Town the other day, and I was segmenting on the side, and we were talking about completely different things, and the discussions that emerge are just so interesting about open science, about where things go, about what we want to do next. And so I would also very much enjoy just having all these conversations on the side with everybody who would want to join. I'm happy also to drop off stage at some point so that other people can discuss, and we're just all connected through Brainbox and segment together. And I have to paste the link. I have to find it. I lost it.
Looking for a brain catalog?
Yes.
So maybe if you share your screen, people will be able to see what you're doing. Okay,
I can do that. Can I share my screen? Would that make sense? It may be nice because also then we have up on screen.
Yeah.
I will plug you to the Ethernet.
Nice. Okay.
So I was doing this on my iPad with my finger, and I don't. What's the best way to do this, Katja? With a pen, right?
The fastest is if you have a pen on the iPad. Okay. It's the most precise. Otherwise, if you don't have a pen and you just use your finger, we have the precise cursor. That's one of the icons in Brainbox, which I can show. Okay. You just make so that you can see where exactly you're drawing. You see the dot not under your fingertip, but a bit on the side, so that you know.
See, this is why I need you to. My sound is a bit low. Like, I should speak up more. I'll try to speak up. Thank you. Yeah. Project.
Question, and I can see people, but I don't know how to screen share.
There should be a little thing above your, like if you hover over your face.
Thank you. I was searching in the wrong spot. Share screen. Entire screen. There we go. So now you should see yourself, Inception, at its best.
Yes.
Is that right?
Nice.
Okay, cool. And if I go, so now I'm on the brain catalog.
Maybe just go on default so that people don't. No, if you just use default, so when people land here, they will be immediately.
It's true. So what I do for that is, because the mask is at the moment in the wrong layer, let's say that, in the Cerebrum layer, I can download it just in the interface. And then I can upload it into the other layer, which is the default layer. Because what's nice in BrainBox, we can create collections of brains into projects. And here we are in the brain catalog project. And now I can upload the mask that I just downloaded for the zebra. Here we go. And now it will pop up here in the default layer, where everybody will land that will connect to the brain. Woo, and now I can save it. And so here we can see we have different layers. So we are interested in the cerebrum. Other people were interested in segmenting the hippocampus. And you can create more and more layers that you're interested in for each brain that you put on BrainBox. And I don't see podcast anymore, so I hope it's okay. I just show a little bit of BrainBox. So now what we started with Aki during our last discussion was to segment the cerebrum, meaning that from this potato mask that we uploaded, which looks like this, we took the eraser tool, and then we can go and open the soul side. And I'm just doing that with my computer mouse now. But if other people like Aki and Roberto are connected now with their iPads, we should see them. And it's 120 in Brain Catalog. I can paste a link to the Zebra MRI in Cloudcast.
Yeah, that'd be great. How do we know if we're all on the same dock or not?
So now if you click the link, you will get to the Zebra immediately, which is part of the Brain Catalog connection. And you will see, if I say hi in the chat, hi, OSR, OHBM, boom, and you click my name, you will get immediately to that brain, exactly where I am.
Okay.
And it's nice, like if other people want to join, which I highly encourage, of course, that would be so nice. If you log in with BrainBox with GitHub to BrainBox, then we can see your usernames. Like now here you can see Roberto popping up. In a second you will also see Aki. Yes, there he goes.
Yay.
And
God.
It's nice to see, you see all the people that are segmenting together, and so you can join the fun. And what's very interesting, like this is my favorite button in the interface. If I click that one, I get an on-the-fly 3D render of the brain that we are working with. So here we're going to see the brain of the zebra.
Guys, isn't this amazing that they made this thing? This is insane. You guys are absolutely incredible. This is so cool. And the heart, I love you put a heart in that layer. That's so good.
Yeah, so now you see what we are up to segmenting, and in the end we will have a beautiful zebra brain. There's a lot of work to be done in some places and a little bit of less work in other places. And it's an amazingly folded brain. It will be so much fun to segment that together. Woohoo! And yay, a smiley. And now if I remember.
How do you do that thing where like you can see underneath where you're painting?
I will show that in a second because now I didn't. Here, it's this icon, this half-filled ball, where you can say, okay, I will switch off the mask to see more of the anatomy, and then I can bring it back a little bit. And here I can increase the contrast. Don't be afraid of using these sliders. They don't actually modify the MRI. They're just an overlay. And so I can find the contrast that makes me see the data the best. Woohoo! Oops, I'm still stuck in it.
Can you move the screen to the right a little bit or something? Because I think our video is covering, I don't know if you're maybe doing something in the bottom left of the screen or no.
Where do I have to move it? Like here?
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah.
That's great. Okay.
So
perfect.
how are you just doing that?
We have here, this is this half-filled ball icon. And the first slider is the opacity of the mask. So I can either go full mask or full transparency to see the anatomy. And then I can come back a little bit so that I know what I'm doing with that mask. I will put it here. And then we have the option to modify the contrast of the MRI data. And there we can go like full contrast and try to find the adjustment that on our own screen will enable us to see the folds the best.
This is amazing.
This for me probably.
This is so cool.
Now we have here this little bonhomme that is being drawn here by Roberto and also Adva. Hello, so nice. seeing new people. And if I click the 3D render again, you will see the little bonhomme next to the brain now. And like this, we can not only draw a little mannequin on the side, we can also draw arrows, for example, that point to a certain place where we are not sure in the 2D layer view if we are doing the right thing or if it's maybe a mistake. Oh, my computer struggles. Oh, my computer struggles. Yeah, sorry about that. And I can show you like the way I use it for like segmenting brains that I'm not certain.
Katja, can I just shortly interrupt? There's
Yes.
a few people in the chat asking or commenting that they cannot access it yet. So some people can, but some people. So Gabrielle writes, after logging in, I can only see a black screen with names.
Are you at a university connection? That's
So Adina writes that reloading fixed it for her.
okay. That's nice.
Sometimes if the WebSockets protocol is blocked at your university or institute, it will not work, and you will have to ask your sysadmin to authorize the WebSockets. But from home it should work. It works. We always use it with Chrome in the computer and just Safari on the iPad.
Yeah.
Okay. So Gabrielle just wrote that refreshing made it. So that's very good.
Oh, nice. That's lovely to know. Yeah, it's just sometimes with institutions that they block the WebSocket connection.
If you log in with your GitHub account, then you will get your own user page where you can keep track of your work and the projects where you are a participant.
Yeah. I feel like this is like one of the coolest GitHub projects you could be contributing to, right? Like getting to do some drawing and hanging out. It's pretty nice.
I have to wait for a bit, like my computer is, I don't know what it's doing, but it's doing too much and struggling to keep me connected. So I will stop screen sharing because you're not seeing anything interesting. Well, there's names, you can see that they are working, but you don't see anything interesting related to brains. I am so sorry about that.
Does anyone else want to come up on screen? Adina, Sophie, Hao Ting, Johanna, Dory, all these wonderful people. Come and join me.
With Sophie, we are currently using Brainbox for a project to segment the cerebellum. Well, I'm mostly helping on the side, but Katja is, and Sophie and Neville, who's working with Sophie, are the main people here. And then we have this collection of primate brains, and right now we have nice segmentations for the cerebrum, and we wanted to add the cerebellum as well.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I think I'm really grateful for Katja, Roberto, and Brainbox because it was an ultimate setup also to have a remote master internship for Neville, and like as for educational purposes, it's like a really nice tool to get people appreciated anatomy of either a lot of humans or some humans, or because they also have the histology version up and running with MicroDraw. So to me, this was a pandemic hack to spice things up. But in general, I think that it's just a really cool tool to do maybe not it's not deep learning. It's just hand drawn. It's I don't know how to say this, honest work, or how do you say this? But I think it's a great. There's a lot of other things possible with this, and I'm super grateful for you guys to develop this. And, yeah, I think Neville was also surprised. At first he thought, okay, this will be a little bit boring, remote internship at home. Oh no! So he was but then I think he was also super positively surprised by how fun and interactive this actually is, regarding like, I guess we all struggle with finding the right mode of having like remote work and interaction, and like also having like this benefit of using computers and like this online space to collaborate. But this is like one of the examples that really nailed it, in my opinion. So, and I think I hope this will stay for the future, because I'm a huge fan of remote working and also like international collaboration. I hate flying, so to me this was also like really a way to connect. And yeah,
it was super nice with Sophie. They were not afraid of anything. She was setting up the project and then saying, yeah, let's meet and like get started. And I was like just wondering, do we meet on Jitsi or just on Brainbox? And she was like, let's meet on Brainbox. So we did everything via the Brainbox chat, and just like by showing each other using the show tool in Brainbox, how we would segment, and then they had to make decisions like where to cut the brainstem and how to make that consistent throughout like 34 different primate species. That was like quite exciting. And then you see the progress, and it's really, really nice. Like you can be part of it even if you don't invest. Like Neville has been the main segmenter of the project. Like he has done all the Sierra Valley segmentations, and it was just nice. We could check in whenever he had a question and see it all growing. And sometimes I have the same effect when I go to a conference and I get to show Brainbox, and I connect the night before just to check everything is working, and then in the morning I give a presentation. There's more work there out of a sudden, and it's just beautiful how we can all work together on building a bigger and bigger data set. And what's nice about the primates now is also that like we were looking into cerebrum, and now Sophie leads the project about the cerebellum, and we have other project leads that look into subcortical structures, and it's like really nice how one data set becomes more and more complex just based on the people working together.
and then we will have the whole animal kingdom, because I saw also the zebra, so we can expand this to more horses, like going, you know, so like the sky is also the limit. And I really like also this multi-species perspective, because I think we're also rather human-centric in like a lot of neuroscience, and also like understanding humans is also sometimes easier by looking at other animals. So yeah, I'm a big fan, and I really like only good words from me and like this tool. And I just also started my PhD or my master's with correcting Christopher images by hand. So I'm a big fan of manual segmentation. I think it's also like this meditation practice for me. So it's also good for my mental health. So yeah, if you ever feel down, I can only recommend you to do some manual segmentation. Yeah, maybe anybody else wants to come on the screen. Like now
what I also like very much, like all the during the last decade probably, you know, all the push for sharing our data, making it easily accessible, etc. It's super nice, and it's a major progress by all means. But that doesn't go like all the way through, no? Because still, like if the data is only available, the only thing that you can do is download it and analyze it yourself. But I think that if we are able to create this sort of online spaces where actually the lab is in the web, then anyone that connects right now, like you're connected to our common lab, kind of, then it goes that extra mile. That means that you are within a community working all together on the same data at the same time, and not in parallel, redundantly segmenting for the 100th time Abide once again, or I don't know. I thought it was very interesting. We had this project with Abide where we were just looking at the corpus callosum, you know, like a very simple structure. It was a master student that had only a very short internship, and we decided to go with the corpus callosum. So normally what we do is a quality control, and then you realize that there are like 30% of the corpus callosum we were not properly segmented automatically, so we have to discard them. And it's quite a pity, of course. Like one single student wouldn't be able to segment 300 corpus callosum by hand. It would take too much time. But it's public data, so if that data, which is the case now, it's on Brainbox, then everyone can segment or fix a few of those corpus callosum or any other structure, and then they would be available for the complete community. So all that work that you would have to do independently, redundantly, everyone in their own labs. Now we can just work all together to get the best curated data set for all of us. And yeah, so to me that goes the extra mile of making it possible that we all work on the same thing as it happens with the Wikipedia. You know, like often I give the example, imagine if for the Wikipedia it worked in the same way that our data works. Even if it's with a very nice tool like Data Lab. Imagine that, you know, if you want to read or work on the Wikipedia, you go Data Lab and then you download the whole Wikipedia, you work on your computer. Then eventually you share your edits on the Wikipedia and you make them available somewhere. It wouldn't work. What you need is to be able to modify all at the same time the same Wikipedia. You know, and that's what makes it possible to tackle like big challenges. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So more than just making it fair, making it like a common space, a collaborative online laboratory. We have colleagues working like from South America. Well, I'm from Chile, so I don't have a lot of difficulty on getting people from very distant places. But I think it's much more inclusive, and instead of discarding this 30% of the people in a buy that were people who actually came to the lab to pass a scan, very often, you know, a family with a kid with autism, it's not easy. So it's also like a not completely right to just go and discard that data. We need to find a way of being able to include as much as possible.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And I don't know if you sometimes hear a funny noise from the background. That's our 3D printer. So we were thinking, like, depending on how much progress we can make all together, we would love to keep track of everybody that contributed and send you a 3D print in miniature of a zebra brain after the session is over and once we finish and can make a beautiful surface.
That'd be amazing.
It is possible using mathematical morphology algorithms to clean every second slice if we only segment every second one. So if we, for example, decide on segmenting all the even slices, that would be enough. Because if you imagine you have one potato and one where you opened it, and then there's another one where you opened it. So if you then use an erosion, it will delete everything that is in this potato slice and also open it. And then when you want to bring it back, the segmentation will come back to the outer rim where it belongs, but inside the salsa will remain open. So that would be enough if we segment every even slice. Let's go.
Am I the only one who's thinking like, let's get together, have like wine, and just like drink and segment brains, like casually, you know, just chat and, you know, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm glad I'm not the only one thinking this.
And we're like, anyways, like our philosophy in this lab of Roberto, it's really amazing. Like the more the merrier. We're super open. And for example, the second author on my first paper, I love it. It's a person just said on Twitter, that looks so cool what you're doing. And he joined us for that paper, and we are still working together. I don't know, he has a job now a little bit outside of academia, but still does research a lot and still comes back and is now also part in presenting posters at OHBM. I don't know if Farouk is around, but so it's
Farouk is here.
How nice! So and so through Twitter, we have also been able to grow the community, and it's just nice to work all together. And Farouk is also doing other amazing stuff with the brain catalog brains.
That was really sweet because we were talking so much with Farouk that when we actually got to meet him for real, it wasn't like meeting a person for the first time. No? And then that's in fact the only time we have met him.
It's true.
It really doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, so it's not only that you like work together, but you make friends on the way, and that's like this whole community. It's just a tool that supports that feeling as well, very much. And it's part of my daily research. So I'm happy to see all the names flying around in the different projects and also on the chat. The chat is global, so whenever you log into whichever project or whichever brain or brain box, when you say hi, everybody will see it. You can also, if you don't like it, if it's like, if you really want to see that corner of the brain, you can disable the chat just like visually by clicking on the chat icon, bring it back and forth. And because you were asking about if you paint with your fingers, this is the precise cursor tool that you can use to adjust your positioning.
So the idea with that cursor is that you put your finger in a place which is not the place where you are painting. And if you, there will be a circle and a voxel that will appear. If you hold the circle, you can displace the circle to a position where you are comfortable with your finger, but then it's where the little pixel is that you will paint or erase. That's what we used before we had the things.
And what's nice, we have seen this like many times, and these are awesome students. They come to the lab and they're like, why are you doing that by hand? And then you try, like, you explain that most of the algorithms that perform so nicely in humans do also make mistakes. And that's what Roberto mentioned earlier. When we're looking at the Abide data and interested in one structure, there's a lot of quality control and correction going on behind the scenes, in addition to what an automatic tool is able to produce. And if you go beyond humans, it gets trickier and trickier, like on the realms of developmental data as well as animal data. We can use, like, here you see the pre-computed mask we were able to get by a simple threshold. And then we go and manually refine as to what we need. And it's getting better and better, trying to get better and better starting masks, but there's still this manual editing that will remain for a long time, part of our work.
And can I maybe ask a question, like regarding manual editing? Isn't that also part of the fun?
Yes, I love it.
In some ways.
It's beautiful. Like, I like it very much. Sometimes I listen to scientific talks on the side. Like now when OHBM is going on, it's very nice just to sit there and segment the brain on the side. It's also nice to look at the anatomy, like browsing through all the slices and in between the different species. It's just very fascinating. It's also nice. We were giving a session at Mozilla Festival twice already, and there's people that are not brain scientists, but showing them brains of different animals, they're fascinated. And they have they gave us feedback that it's a very meditative task, that they love it. It's like a coloring book for adults. And they're also fun and proud to be part of a scientific project at the same time. And that's the feedback we had so far. But it's so nice that you like it and that you enjoy it. Thank you for the feedback.
It's also quite magical when at the end you are able to see a 3D brain. And like my experience is that often after working in 2D slices, the result in 3D makes so much more sense than what you were able to see from just the 2D slices. That's quite nice. So right now the 3D, if you hit the cube icon, Brainbox will compute a 3D render in real time. And now the idea would be to use there's a web version of the virtual reality. It's called the WebXR. The idea would be to, if you have a headset, then that you can like walk inside the brain in virtual reality.
And that's beautiful. Like, it's already beautiful when it's just like the one layer, but if you have like a gray matter surface and a white matter surface and you can walk between, it's super nice. It's just fascinating.
Or when we have one virtual reality application where we use it for developing brains. So we have a mesh that's actually folding. It's super tricky to actually figure out, like really grasp how the brain is changing in shape dynamically, because we can only rotate the thing in our 2D screens. But when you are actually inside the brain, you can like look from one side, look from the back, etc. It's very, very nice. And you see like a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that becomes intuitive. Also, manually editing the meshes is second best.
I love it. Yeah. Like, triangles are my favorite shape now, and meshes are just, I love working with meshes.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about the like what the 3D rendering would look like just without the manual editing compared to what the manual editing does? to the 3D rendering?
Probably if you're not sharing your screen again.
I think I am sharing the
What you
screen.
see without the edits, it's like a potato with the folds not super deep. But then when you actually dig them, all the pattern becomes so much more contrasted.
I see. Okay, so it really looks like a brain then. Okay.
Yeah. And then offline, we have algorithms for making meshes and then eventually inflating them, flattening them, or doing some other type of stuff.
Cool.
And also sometimes, particularly in brains which are very, very folded, it's difficult to know sometimes where one fold goes and where exactly there's a small gyrus or things like that. But when you go to 3D, it makes sense in 3D, but not necessarily in the volume.
Yeah.
And that's also very helpful to be able to go back and forth, especially for complex structures.
Yeah, what I meant earlier when I said like you can, instead of drawing the little bonhomme that was drawn in the down left corner, you can draw like an arrow that points to that structure that you are not sure about, and then you can switch slice view already to view in another 2D plane where you are, and if that would be a fold or what that is, and then you can also render it in 3D, and you will see the arrow pointing to that part of the brain, and you will see if this is a fold that continues there, or if it's another gyrus that arrives, or if it's just an artifact.
The beauty circuit is also interesting.
Yes.
So very often, in particular in these brains, the brains are extracted with a saw. So they like saw the skull and then they extract the brain, and it's very frequent there's some damage traces of the saw in the brain, which are not too difficult to fix because they don't look at all like a real fold. They are completely straight and they cut into space where you have like a sulcus, but there's no white matter. No, it's just cutting. It's no gray matter. I mean, normally a sulcus is surrounded by gray matter and then the white matter. But if it's the saw, you just have a hole basically. And what we try to do for our brains is we try to remove those artifacts by painting. Or, for example, if you have a chunk that's missing, you can look at the other hemisphere and then try to look how it should be. Or you can complete sometimes from the sagittal view, complete as much as you can, and then you look into the coronal view, and then you will realize that what you did was probably not making sense in some parts, etc. And by interpolating across different views, it's quite surprising the quality of the beauty surgery that we can get.
Yeah, and it's fun to do, because sometimes you have, especially we are interested in the large evolutionary picture. So we have exciting specimens, but they may have been floating in jars for a long time, or they may have the cut saw. And when you see the data, sometimes you're like, oh, this is so damaged. Are we able to use it? And then you go and you try to reconstruct it, and then you're so happy when you have the end result, and you do know that actually this data is it's so valuable and now it's usable, and that's the fun part. So there's
I feel like we're doing like archaeology in a way, like these kinds of like old images or old, it's like this digital Indiana Jones neuroscience thing.
These guys are actually quite old. Some of them are 100 years old. It's brains from the Natural History Museum in Paris.
Oh my God.
So we have species that are now extinct. We have the brain of a Pilocene, and it's exciting. Yes.
That's insane. That's amazing. Oh, that's so inspiring. Great. What a great project. Are there some folks in the chat that want to come and hang out with us? Like, if you want to be friends, we could just hang out, chat,
I just saw Houting floating over the screen. She's one of the stars, like in the Jupiter book and all the hackathon projects. Now she's here. It's so nice.
So grateful for Houting.
Oh, nice. Now I see in the chat also who logged in. How lovely. And there's also a lot of users that haven't logged in. Don't be afraid. We're not storing anything. We're using GitHub for the login, so they take care of all that part.
Hey.
Yeah, nice.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm going to close the segmentation now because it's going to drain my CPU. I don't have a very strong laptop.
How nice to see you. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. I did one slice.
Oh, Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is really
Thank you.
Lost her.
Oh no.
Farouk, do you
So-
want to come on?
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
Oh,
Don't know what happened.
that's okay.
Uh,
I know it's.
I'll invite her in, okay?
Yeah.
Again.
Being backend host is like too much power. You can like accidentally destroy everything. Hi.
hello. I think it's
Huh?
Oh.
We should make this one of the like activities we do every time that there's a social during OHBM.
Oh yes, please. We've got
Right?
so many brains we could get them done.
Yeah, exactly. Just like because there's a social happening today. So anytime people are at a social, maybe we can like. What would be the minimum thing that we need to like just tell people like click on this link, log in through your GitHub account, use the eraser.
And the adjustment tool is nice to like really start seeing where the folds would be, and yeah, and then we go through only every even slice we segment.
Right.
And since there are now already some examples of segmented slices, they can lead like the inspiration for the coming slices for people.
You guys want us to focus on the folds that are on the outside of the brain more than the ones on the inside of the brain, right?
Vertical folding is what we are interested in, but then if you discover a structure that you are super interested in, you can just, in default, we can't pick another color. But we do have other label sets, like in the Cerebrum label set, we have 10 different colors where you could just pick a different color and segment the corpus callosum. We can change it to the other layer. It's just that when you go to the brain, you land in the default layer, and that's why we switched to this one now. So everybody that connects immediately sees where we are.
Yeah.
We can maybe even switch to it. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm doing the thing that would be useful.
Ting is back.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what is going on with my connection, but this is really fun. And you know how much I like to automate things, but I found this super therapeutic. I love it.
Yeah, you wouldn't pay somebody else to go to therapy for you, right? That's the whole point. Like, I can't pay anybody to exercise for me. Something's you gotta do it yourself.
Yep.
But if you feel like trying to make some segmentation part automatic, we can provide a lot of already annotated data. So that would be, we have hundreds of manually segmented brains which are not standard brains, like weird stuff, like rhinoceros, giant panda.
Oh my god, panda.
Oh my god.
We should just like have a party themed around whatever animal we're segmenting. Giant panda party, right? And then everybody comes and works on that.
Yeah,
in panda suit.
We bring an expert on the giant panda, and then while we listen to the presentation, we segment the giant panda brain.
Exactly. That would be lovely. The giant pandas also was a present one day. Like I have it as a how do you say the 3D surface? I can wear it around my neck. So that's nice. And like from the hackathon in Rome that we were like having these little brains that people were putting in their hairs and on their pullovers and.
I'm gonna get mine on.
I can also bring mine. That's true. For the people that were not there.
No, but we have those that we printed here now. This is
nice.
A little capuchin one. Yeah.
And this is the one from OHBM where we can have into these little things. So that
We
we can
still have those.
That's so cute.
What brain is this? Can you tell, Katja?
Yes, this is my favorite rhesus macaque.
Rhesus, okay.
From the Kuczynski lab, and this data is so high resolution. They really had nice data. It's one of the people that they were reaching out on Twitter saying like, hey, your rhesus macaque and your crab-eating macaque look like we flipped the labels, because my rhesus was smaller than the crab-eating macaque. And it's actually true, like this is our data, but it's not representative. And so they were kind enough to share all that data with us. And we suggested for them to put it on Zenodo instead of just sharing with us. And they did. And so now it's available for the entire community. And this is my favorite macaque.
Awesome.
Because of the kind story behind it, and also just because it's beautiful data. I wanted to give also a little quick shout out to this software that Farouk has been developing. He told me like, okay, send me your weirdest brains. Now that we're with Houting, that she also loves to automate things. And so we sent him our weirdest brains, and within like 30 minutes, he sent me a segmentation. I'm like, this is so much better than anything I would have been able to get myself. So shout out to Segmentator, is the software that he's developing. It's really nice. And sometimes we're starting from a segmentation and put it on Brainbox and then segment it. Sometimes from Stereotaxic Ramon, which is a tool that Roberto has been developing years ago. And sometimes just from Threshold. And yeah, we also had a student working on some machine learning, but it's all starting steps for the manual finalization. I don't know if Farouk also wants to come up. I'm happy to leave the stage because currently my computer I'm sharing, so that's blocking one screen, I guess, and I myself am blocking as well. So I'm happy to leave the stage if somebody else wants to come.
I think Farouk just said his laptop battery died or something like that.
Yeah, that is not the best start to.
Yes, I have just invited him on stage. Like he still appears to be online, but I think that technically he's not online anymore. Let me try once more.
I'm going to attempt doing this on stream. I hope my laptop won't die.
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
It's also nice, like since I have the local version running, I can segment even when being in a train.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Then I'm completely independent of any connection.
Yeah, since this is open source, so I guess there's instruction on how to run the local instance, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The developers version up there, and then people were adding the Docker install version. I think it's Satra and Chao from Ulic and Nicola who are working on getting the Docker installation. It's all in the README. If you click in the interface, there's a little GitHub icon. That's where you get to our GitHub repo in Brainbox. And over the different hackathons, there were many contributors. Like we were having a look at the repo just recently, and there are more than, like way more than 20 people who have been helping on the way, and it's nice. So anybody who wants to join, feel free.
There we are. Is there a particular slide you're working on right now, or?
Me, I'm in 165.
I'm in 140. Where are you in 55?
It's uneven slides that we agreed on, right?
Huh?
Oh, I thought
Uneven.
it was even.
Even or uneven?
I don't know.
I was doing the good ones, but maybe, I don't know, Roberto was doing uneven.
It doesn't.
But it doesn't matter, like it just, if it's every slice, it wouldn't make it worse. It's just that it takes more time. And if it's every second slice, it works. If it's every third, it would be, we would need to erode more, and that means we are starting to lose detail, so I try to avoid that. But if there's like 3 consecutive slices, it wouldn't matter. It's just that we spend more work than we would probably have to put.
But really, we're just having fun, so.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like work to me. This really feels like those meditation drawing things.
Oh god, those coloring books.
The mandalas, like
Yeah.
you know, it's like a brain mandala.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was commenting in the chat about this can be a really good school outreach project
That's
for
really
neuroscience.
Yeah.
Yeah. because everyone can do it.
Thank you. And it's all open, like you can put up your own projects, you can pull any data that you like, make a project and start segmenting with friends. We just recently had a seminar with, because Ting Ju from New York, she also working with my...
Huh? Yeah, she's with Aki.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
And she's also working with Macaque Brains a lot, and they just had a little baby. And so she has this beautiful MRI data now that she's working on using BrainBox. And so she invited me to give a little presentation with BrainBox to the group that she's organizing. Every Saturday, she's meeting with a Chinese group of researchers. And so I was able to be introduced. I was lucky to be introduced to that group of people, and we were working a little bit together. And it's exciting to see how that can grow and how people are putting their own projects and organizing their own communities around. It's true. We had a music feature at some point, but then it was disabled because we can't just make noise all the time in the background. I just heard them like whistle, and it's true that sometimes like either we have talks or we have music in the background. It's nice. What's the music you are listening to when you're working or drawing or coding?
This is a problem. I don't listen to music when I'm concentrated. It's like, yeah, I can play some music and then I'll completely forget about there's music playing once I am in the zone. But if I don't, what do I listen to? I usually just put on like random playlist. I don't have a very strong taste in music or anything.
I can't work when there's somebody singing lyrics in the background, but like just sounds are super nice. That's okay for me.
Yeah, singing is a big no-no for me as well. Because like, well, it's like I get very distracted by it.
I like very much to have like music. It's called like one song of theirs is called Gyro. Scorn, super nice. It's just a YouTube discovery, and I like it so much.
I try to listen to a natural philosopher with an attitude while I'm doing neuroscience projects. But EDM is really not my. It's probably one of the genre that I don't really know about. It's like.
I've like listened to electronic music since I was a kid, like Daft Punk and Kylie Minogue and stuff back in the '90s, Madonna, etc. So I'm a huge fan of electronic music.
So we discovered quite recently. I think the guy is German. You have in mind the main theme from Ghost in the Shell? Like that type, but in electronic music version.
Yeah.
Super slow, like super slow. It's called Signalstörung. Signalstörung. It's very, very nice. Very like the tempo is like
Can you spell it?
10 times lower than everything that you are used to.
Yeah, to be fair, I said I don't listen to EDM. It's probably more the Western EDM type, because I do listen to electronic music, but the whole electronic music, like at least in East Asia, it's developed to like a very different direction comparing to the West. It feels like. Yeah.
I'd be curious to if you can drop some names in the chat.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
The weirdo kind of music that I like very much is a group that's called Asa Chang. Asa Chang, and they play.
Let's see.
And they have this old synthesizer that's June Gray. So it's the group is called Asa Chang and Jun Ray, which is just the name of their synthesizer.
Oh.
Can you put? Are you typing in the chat? Maybe I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what? Here, let me. I'm a big fan of like Japanese music. Maria Takeuchi is like kind of this OG, just so good. Kind of like disco, like Japanese, kind of like disco.
Oh yeah, they're more like what's that called? City pop.
Yeah, city pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, recently because of you hear that chord and then yeah that's it, yeah, that kind of thing. Because I recently started listening to the soundtrack of a game called, it was a franchise called Yakuza, and they just all have this like, because it's set in the 80s 70s, that kind of vibe. Well, it's actually not that time setting, but it's like the vibe is like that. So all their soundtrack is all that city pop vibe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. There are like usernames that I haven't seen before.
Do you guys use Visual Studio Code for coding by any chance?
I do, yeah. It's like I do like it.
So there's a music program called Tidal Cycles, where you just type. There's a plugin for Visual Studio Code, and you can write your music, and it makes music like live instead of, when you execute the code immediately in Visual Studio Code. But here it would be for producing music, and people use it for live music improvisation and DJing. Tidal Cycles. Check it out. It's very funny because you write your loops and patterns and stuff, and it executes.
That is really cool.
Whoa.
I'm very new to these kind of things because my music background is more classical side, but I listen to everything, and probably don't listen to classical music that much anymore. It's too distracting.
Is Haskell difficult?
It's just you need to learn. It's just it's just different.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just different. It's like I think in modern music there's a lot more interesting like percussive elements that's difficult for me to grasp, and in classical music you might have more I would say more like changes in how the color develops in the music. So because they have longer pieces, and popular music pieces are shorter. So that's just a natural constraint. But because it's shorter, they will be more creative with things like tempos and that kind of thing. So it's all really fun. Yeah, but I'm not very into contemporary classical music because that is a bit too strange for me to understand.
Well, there's quite some variety, For example, I find Philip Glass.
Yeah, Philip Glass.
It's easy to have. It's nice to have in background.
Yeah, I would say that's the only one for me as well.
But Steve Reich.
Mm.
And Sophie can do some advertisement here.
Oh yeah.
Sophie.
Sophie, you actually do music.
She's the producer of contemporary piano album.
Yes, that's actually over the winter. I helped produce my partner's album, and it was a lot of work to select the pieces and to comment on elements that were interesting. And it's also tricky to, now the music business has, there's a lot of peaceful piano, on Spotify, and there is though a way, you can hack the algorithm, making piece is a certain length or a certain complexity, and that's kind of like really bad in a way, because if you want them to have commercial success, you should adhere to certain rules, and it's like also a question about like what you want. And fit-up glass is obviously nice, but it's also a special, or a certain, like an Audi also, right? It's also a certain kind of music with expectations being fulfilled, right? And there's also, what is the Estonian guy? Yeah, and there's also, what is the music that you compared also Martin's music to? Yes. Was it that? Yeah.
Piano, minimalistic piano, German.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on in the field of music, I guess, and it's also highly, like, it's not competitive in a sense, but it's also interesting to see what works and what doesn't. And it's super tricky to, yeah, I guess it's like also the question, like, why do you do music? Do you do it for yourself or for others? Or I guess I also built a website, but so apologies, the website is not the best, but I can share it if you're interested in the music.
Yes, I think it's very interesting. Like, I liked it very much. I don't know.
Yeah, it's also, if you ever need somebody to play at a wedding or a funeral, he had made many successes on either situation. So yeah, so it's interesting. It's like a nice distraction also from neuroscience, and there's a lot of parallels, I guess, also between neuroscience and music, in sense of trying to see rhythms or like patterns. Like in the end, it's all pattern recognition, right? So but yeah, no, like he would be happy if he saw the Spotify listeners increase. So if anybody's listening and into like giving it a go. But yeah, no, it was sort of, what to say. It's interesting also to compare it to what other people are doing. And
I like also very much what you just said, and I think it's also another point where music and science can be comparable, like the question of why are we doing this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you doing the music because you want to get rich, or because you want to have a largest audience, or just because it makes you so happy? And are we doing neuroscience because, you know, you get to wonder about how we think and how we feel and stuff, or we are doing it to heal Alzheimer's disease or whatever? And both are possible, and both are valid. The risk is that at some point, some algorithm will be better than us at solving Alzheimer's, but that will, you know, I play the guitar and it makes me happy, even if I'm not the best guitar player, and I will not, because there's an algorithm or other people that play much better than me. It's something that I like to do.
Yeah, that is something that I want to get back, like, eventually, because I stopped like doing music for fun like about 10 years ago. Yeah, and it's just because I felt a lot of pressure and also just too self-critical about a lot of things. And I was not even performing, and I was not even doing it for money, but it's just I got into that very terrible mindset.
I need to run now to a meeting, but maybe we can have a next Emergent session about fun versus fame. If there's like willingness from people here, but I really need to go now. So thank you so much.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
I think we might be going to the same meeting, maybe not. Okay, let's see.
I think not, because I have a thesis committee meeting. But
never mind. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Then
OSR thing. Okay. Bye.
Sorry.
Feel free to stay online as long as there's not another Emergent session. I just want to say that.
Yes. Yeah. So there's,
no need to finish.
Yeah. So there's still time. So if you want, you can hang out a little bit longer. Also, if anyone who's still like live now wants to join in, just type it in the chat, and I can just invite you on stage, and then you can like visibly and audibly hang out.
Thank you so much. That's so nice. And to everybody that also has to run away, it was lovely to see all the people interacting on BrainBox and to see you here. And thank you so much for sharing the enthusiasm, and that's very nice.
If anyone has a personal experience with a plane zebra, we would love to hear.
Yeah, zebra experience.
Yes.
I'm learning all about zebra now.
And we still need to figure out, hey, is it a black zebra with white stripes or is it a white zebra with black stripes?
Over lunch, we were checking the zebra pictures with Katja, and it's actually one of the few animals where you can invert your image, and everything else gets inverted, but your zebra is still a zebra, no? It's just
That is so true.
Instead of black and white, it's white and black. Well, the mouth,
Over the background.
the mouth changes and the eyes turn white, but most of the zebra, it's just another very valid zebra, and the background is completely messed up. So if you have a zebra that's on a green field, the field will turn like red, whatever.
Purple.
But the zebra will still be a black and white zebra. Amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
I just made a mess on one of the slides because I don't know what's going on with my mouse. A huge stripe.
There is an undo button. It's this like circular structure with the arrow, like to the right of the color field.
Yeah,
a friend there. Should work.
I found it. Yeah, finally I found the undo button.
Yay!
Right.
Now there's also like my friend, sometimes I like when you paint a structure, you can use the pencil and you paint a circle, and then you can use the fill bucket to fill it. And sometimes I switch off the fill bucket so the whole slice goes pink. But you just undo and that's fine. Same with erasing. Like erasing is also, you can either erase lines like what we do now, but you can also like erase entire chapters by using the eraser and the bucket. And sometimes I forget to switch it off and then everything goes away.
Yep. I mean, this is a new thing I will do when I feel like I cannot concentrate on work.
Oh, nice.
Still feel productive.
We are very thankful for Aki. Aki was so like, he loved it so much that he put this session up and he said, we want to do that in the OSR and we want to share this with the wider community. It's a lovely experience. And maybe now, I don't know until when this session goes, but at the end, I would like to just render in 3D again what we have worked on. Either everybody can do that on their side or we can do it on screen sharing again. But I actually don't know when this session is supposed to end.
Oh yeah, when is the session ending? Because I'm a bit confused with time.
We're doing overtime now, I think.
Yeah, the session was scheduled until 4 o'clock Central European summertime, which is like 4 minutes ago. But there's no emergent session after this one, so as such, no one needs the room. You can hang out a little bit longer. But the attendance is currently very small. Like the only person except for the two of you is Adina, who's still online. So Adina, do you also want to come on the stage?
Hello, Adina. Maybe she forgot to turn her.
Yeah, maybe she just forgot to turn this off.
Yeah.
And
if that's the case, then it's just the four of us.
Yeah, we can.
I think what would be nice is to see the result. If you can share your screen once more and show the rendering.
I think that would be nice because it will be recorded and people who watch the replay can have a look.
Exactly.
Robert, you were in the Brain Hack we organized in Paris in 2015.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, I was there.
With the super nice music.
Yes, we kicked off the EG synth there, and we've really made a lot of nice progress, both technically but also artistically, and have had a lot of fun with the EG synth. So that's still an active project that Stephen Whitmarsh and I are continue to develop.
Nice. He was in Paris for a long time. I don't know if
he's still in Paris. He's working at ICM.
Okay. All right. Nice. Okay. We definitely have to do another Brain Hack.
Would Paris. Be great. Like, yeah, if it's going to be in Paris, I'll definitely hop on the train and come over because it was so much fun.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
Great. Yeah, the place was nice, and the fact that they allowed us to have it open for 24 hours.
Yeah, that was really nice. Yeah,
it looks very nice.
Do you have a heart
Yes, here on one of the slices there's a heart, and there should also be the smiley, you know, the little guy. But the pencil is very small, so we don't really see much of the person. Here you go. Woohoo! Waving person, standing there and waving.
Oh yes. Oh
With
yeah.
the
Cool.
nose,
Small.
and the face, and the hair, and the hand waving.
Looks a little bit spooky, as if the zebra was thinking about a person.
The homunculus. Even zebras have homunculus. Not zebunculus, but
And here you can see that's nice. Like you see where we have been working and erasing this artifact here.
yes.
You see the stibbles, and they will all go away once we do the erosion.
I see.
How nice. And you see how the folds are getting deeper here.
Yeah.
As compared to where we haven't been working.
Oh.
This is a very, very large brain.
It's a very large and very folded brain. But it's, yeah, that's why also probably it has been slower on the loading a little bit for all of us. But it's a fascinating brain to see the folding emerge. And
Probably in terms of just raw number of folds, it would be on pair with a human brain, no?
which angle do we end up on? This is quite nice with a hearty heart.
Yeah.
Woo! Okay. Then I will stop sharing.
Good.
Thank
Shall
you
we then?
so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for this fun session. Like I really enjoyed like drawing along. It took me some time to get the hang of it with the mouse, but at a certain point, like it's really nice. Like it's really fun, and it was also like a very friendly session, just hanging out, having it, hearing you chatting, and I made some links to YouTube and some artists that you recommended for me to check out as well if I'm working or in the evening hours. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's lovely.
Okay, then I'm going to end then I'm going to end the broadcast here, probably around later this week during in the open science room, or otherwise like next time at another occasion. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.